doing, Charles?
Doing pretty good. Great to be back on whatever the show is called this episode.
Yeah,
That sounds like a great name.
I decide that that's going to be what it's called, because with this
whatever it's called this episode. Yep.
Yeah. Because with this review, I feel like calling this album whatever this album is. But anyway, you picked this.
Yeah. Wow.
And
interesting.
Yeah, it's the Paul McCartney, like CCCP, Kodo, whatever it is. I'm just calling it the Russian album.
That's what a lot of people call it. It's actually that in Russian, supposedly, is back in the USSR. Whatever that Choba BCCC, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how it, I don't speak Russian, so I don't know. But supposedly that's back in the USSR. But a lot of people call it the Russian album. So you picked the right choice, I'd say.
Yeah. Just like
now,
one of my...
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I was just going to say on one of my projects that I did, and I had wanted to make a picture with AI of a cat, but it was going to be from Farmersburg. So I put in Farmersburg cat to see what would come up with, and it showed the picture of the cat with the name Fanergenbub-Glagu. And so I thought, well, that's so weird, I'm going to use it. So it became the name of the group, and I gave the CD to someone who couldn't even pronounce it. But anyway, what were you going to say?
Well, it's another Paul McCartney covers album. This one was done before, obviously, the last Paul McCartney cover album we did, which was Run Devil Run in '99. This was made, I believe, in like 1986, 87, something like that. And not a great era in Paul McCartney's solo career. It was after the album Press to Play. Have you heard that album?
I have not.
Don't know if I'd recommend it. This wasn't a hot moment in Paul McCartney's solo career. Not long after this, I even know I am one of the weirdos that loves the song Spies Like Us. I don't know what you feel of that song, Lee.
I don't remember for sure.
Okay, well, that's how much of an impression it left on you.
Oh, yeah.
This was as close to the Muzak-y era that Paul McCartney would ever be in. I think when Lennon said that in the 70s, I don't think we'd even quite scratched the surface yet. To Paul McCartney's kind of adult contemporary Muzak-y time of period. Press to Play didn't do very well. Not a big surprise. So this was a response album to that, just to try to get back to the basics, and that's why he decided to do a cover album. That's pretty much how he got to it. Now, interestingly enough, there is one member of the band. There's two bands listed on the credits, but to me it sounded like piano. Like it was one with Paul on guitar and no piano, and then another lineup where he's playing bass and there's piano. But it sounds like every track has piano to me. So I don't know. I don't like that when you don't really know who's actually playing what so much, but whatever. I mean, it's Paul McCartney, a covers album. Choba P, blah, 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 blah. Circa around late 80s, before Flowers in the Dirt. Don't know if have you listened to that album?
I do know that. I probably heard a couple of songs.
My Brave Face, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of a comeback album.
Only kind of. Only.
Yeah. It had a hit, but I don't know. There's something about
more
this
like
era
a miss,
McCartney.
But
there's something about this era McCartney that sounds very sanitized, and I don't know, kind of a very David Foster-ish kind of sound, which he actually produced a track on Flowers in the Dirt. Which will always ruin anything good with David Foster. But he had nothing to do with this album.
Yeah.
Maybe for good or bad. Actually, I pick on David Foster. He's done some good work. I mean, I just pick on him. That's
all. I will
he's
say
done some good. He's done some shit though.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say is like, let's say a really dirty, filthy bum came up to me and asked me, how did he look? And before I could say anything, he went, just don't tell me that I look like a corporate executive. I would be able to say, no, you don't look like that. And he would say, thank you, sir, and smile and leave. That's sort of how this album is.
Which, based off signs of the times, you don't really want to be a corporate executive, especially in your city. Hey, timestamp it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather look like a bum.
Yeah.
So, that's about all I can say about this. It's a covers album. No originals. There's no originals like on Run Double Run. So, It's about all I can say. So, it's Paul McCartney. Everybody knows who the hell he is.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start. First song, Kansas City. This sounds like I'm listening to a Rodney Crowell album with hair on the needle. The mix is really bad. The spirit seems good, but I can't get past the bad sound. But the guitar solo is great. What do you think?
It's an interesting version for folks that are only used to hearing the Beatles version, which is a mashup of this track and a Little Richard track in actuality. But he does add the hey hey part a bit, quite a bit actually. So I'm not sure if that was just a thing of habit or a nod to that version out of habit. I don't know. You didn't get that bye 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 part though. So it separates it a bit. Paul sings this one well. Mick Green, who would go on to play, that's the one guy on that Run Double Run album, provides the guitar work on this, which is pretty solid. And it's a pretty good version, but it comes up a bit sanitized to my taste. A lot like what he was doing in this era. It's not horrible, it just comes across as a bit safe. And the Beatles versions would teeter on the verge of catastrophe at times. I've heard many versions of theirs of this song that I prefer. Not terrible, but a bit too sanitized sounding for my taste.
Okay. What do you think of 20 Flight Rock?
Oh, if this song was never written, who knows what would have happened to the world. We may be sitting here right now only talking about Pat Boone records.
Ha!
The song that Paul played and performed with John Lennon at the Wilton Fete, and the song that made Lennon think, I should put somebody better than me in this band to make a great band. Not a bad choice. That's his words, by the way. Not a bad choice, I'd say. McCartney always shows this off whenever discussing the early Beatles, and good reason. This one has a Kansas City, but I enjoyed this one a bit more. Nice little guitar solo, and this one didn't seem as sanitized and saccharine as the opener. So a nice little track. It's okay.
Okay, I thought this one's better sound-wise, but he's trying to sound like a Billy Swan full-size balloon figure. It's a little bit pretentious to me. The musicianship slightly less so, but though I would be okay with it if I saw it at Great America, I wouldn't pay good money to see this in concert. Alright, now for Lottie Miss Claudie. This is okay. The vocals are a little dramatic, and the mix could be improved, but at least it's better than the first two tracks. Not great, but okay. What do you think?
Well, this was another song that the Beatles were known to do in their early days, and interestingly enough, never seemed to nail down a cover on vinyl. But we get one here from McCartney of this Lloyd Price classic, covered by many artists, notably Elvis amongst them. McCartney sings this one effortlessly, so definitely something he can do in his sleep, and probably did more than once in Hamburg back in the day. It's a pretty cool cover. It seems like it could have been shaved down a bit, though, about one Lottie Miss Claudie, and would have made it even better. Because McCartney's improvisations in that section are the shits, to be quite honest. But he has those moments where he tries a bit too hard, and he does towards the end, which is unfortunate as he was getting it earlier. A half-decent cover that does lean more good than bad, but still a little corny in the end.
Okay. What do you think of Bring It On Home to Me?
Uh-oh, Paul doing some Sam Cooke? Can he pull it off? Let's see. Well, I do think he does it pretty well. This has a bluesy feel. McCartney doesn't do a ton of those, so that stands out quite a bit. Also, his vocals I thought were outstanding on it, especially in the last verses. And to be quite honest, this is one I've enjoyed the most so far on the record. Perhaps because it's a bit unexpected, and McCartney doesn't louse it up with his bad improvisations. A very good track here.
Right on. I put, this time the vocals are what I like best. The musicianship is okay, but a little stiff. But so far, this is the best track on the album because of his vocals. I can kind of like it. All right.
All right. Yeah.
And now for Lucille. I don't like the mix at all. And his vocals don't thrill me. It's like the Paul Schaefer band doing Little Richard. What do you think?
Another track. Poor Paul Schaefer. We're going to have to do a Paul Schaefer album. Are there any? Gotta be.
Yes, but I'm not sure yet if I want to let you know how to find them.
Well, this is another track that the Beatles covered. Noticeably found on Live at the BBC. So a standard of the Hamburg days, to be sure. Of course, to be fair, Live at the BBC would have been a bootleg at this point. And it may or may not have been on those bootlegs. I have no idea. So this was probably a whole new thing to people at that time. And I'll temper my view on this a bit due to that fact, because I didn't hear this when it was out. But I did hear the version on Live at BBC first. Because I do prefer the Beatles cover a bit more. Maybe it was for the fact it wasn't as polished sounding as this. And that would be my knock on this. McCartney sings it fine, but it's very sanitized feel to this once again, which kind of defeats the purpose of good rock. It isn't completely terrible, but just lacks a certain sense of urgency. Very go through the motions. But that was McCartney at this time. Go through the motions.
All right. What do you think of Don't Get Around Much Anymore?
Well, wow, this is interesting. McCartney doing a Duke Ellington number, which probably explains the excellent feel to the number. It's got a different feel to it than the other tracks thus far. So credit where credit is due. Now, this is something I've never heard him do as well. So big points for that for sure. Some cool piano work on it. McCartney sings this one pretty straight. I kind of dug it, probably for its novelty of hearing McCartney doing a Duke Ellington number. It isn't the greatest of all time, but a nice little cover here.
All right. I put. I love the idea of this song being done this way, but I don't like them doing it. It's like they were practicing and stiff. Sorry, next. Okay.
Well, who made a better version?
Huh?
Tell the folks at home, who made a better version of that song? Is Duke Ellington on his own? Who?
I would say anybody else.
Anybody else. All right.
Okay.
Dee Snider's version, coming soon.
No, that would be worse.
Okay, that'd be worse.
But I would still be intriguing I would still want to hear it just to find out.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah.
All right.
They should do. He should do the song Tangerine, but not the Led Zeppelin tune. The Tangerine. You know that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And he should bite into a tangerine as he sings it. Anyway, now the next song is That's All Right, Mama. Okay. Is he using Mac Davis's background band? And is Mac Davis arranging it? The guitar solo is good, but otherwise, make it stop! What do you think?
yet another one that there are Beatles versions of this Elvis classic. So to be totally fair, I was familiar with the Beatles versions over this to begin with, and I do prefer it way, way more. But that's just a style choice, really. I thought the guitar solo on it was decent, fairly out of the box type solo. And McCartney's always sang this one well, so once again, no problem there. It didn't blow my socks off, that's for sure, but yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like if you were at not maybe a Great America, maybe at Six Flags Over Georgia, be pretty good.
All right.
I don't know.
Anywhere that would be hard for me to get to, that would be fine. Okay. Now, what do you think of Ain't That a Shame?
Definitely an artist McCartney held in high regard. Some fast domino here. Another interesting thing is John Lennon also covered this on his rock and roll album. And he took a more adventurous turn on this cover for me. McCartney plays this one pretty straight and faithful to the original domino version. I'm going to have to say both versions are a tie due to the differences in styles of the numbers they created. But I do think McCartney's vocals are superior on this version to Lennon's. But I think, I'll say, I like what Lennon did with this drum. We even get some interesting echo effects at points, which is interesting as the production has been pretty straightforward to me up to this point. I enjoyed this one quite a bit, but I mean, I'm not like wanting to say it's the greatest thing I ever heard either. But it's just, it's okay.
All right, I put, the playing is good, but the mix is bad, and he's singing too close to the mic. Is this rehearsal time? They should have worked on it a few times more and then released it. Okay. And now for cracking up. This one I actually like. It's different and the mix and playing and singing is good. Finally! What do you think?
A Bo Diddley cover. And this one has a quirky type feel to the music. The drums are pretty great here. Definitely has that Bo Diddley beat down. Pretty cool organ solo on it as well. McCartney sings it great. And this is a time where McCartney could still bring it without any studio tricks, which unfortunately he has to do today, I believe. A fun little cover here. I'm tending to enjoy the lesser known numbers a bit better on this record, which is like 2 or 3. So, yeah.
All right.
That's all I say. It's not bad. I still haven't found anything better than the worst track on Run Devil Run yet, but okay.
Yeah, that would be, at least it's not as bad as this. Anyway, no, an album. And no,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, what do you think of Just Because?
Another Elvis cover here. Has some country type feel to this. This was the Beatles. It'd be a sound you'd expect Ringo to go for, but he unfortunately couldn't have sung it this way. Yeah, he just couldn't. I mean, I love Ringo, but he can't sing like Paul. More outstanding piano on this, and McCartney knocks this one out of the park effortlessly. You know what? I'd be interested in listening to a McCartney country-inspired album if he ever did one. I know he could pull it off. As far as this cover, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's not going to blow anyone away by any stretch of the imagination, but like this would be a great Dollywood song. But I think it's pretty solid overall in context of this album. I mean, for this album, it's okay.
I put, this is cool too. I could imagine getting this on an album back when I was a kid. It's pretty good. It's a good version of this song. It's right on.
Well, hey, you liked it better than I did. And we're on the last track.
So I guess you didn't listen to this back when I was 1.
No, but it's too bad.
I didn't either because it wasn't out yet.
Right. It's too bad we didn't get the version with Summertime on it, but we get the version with Midnight Special ending it. Oh, who doesn't want to hear a remake of Summertime?
Yeah,
no. Yeah, I've heard it. You don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Midnight Special. Okay. This is okay too. I like how they're playing it, like they came to my room and played it for me while I was sick. It's right on. What do you think?
Well, you're watching Price is Right, having a
Yeah, and then once they come up,
chicken noodle soup.
yeah, and then once they come into play, then I ask or scream at the nurse to shut off the TV. They're gonna play Midnight Special.
And then you puke and get it out of your system and you feel better.
But I still nod and smile while I do it.
Right, okay. Midnight Special, reworking of the traditional number made famous by Lead Belly. So once again, kudos to Paul here for doing something a bit out of the box for him. And by the way, it's hard to out-blues Lead Belly, but great acoustic guitar solo on this one. Again, that's also a bit refreshing here on this track. I like it, but it's again a bit sanitized sounding, which would be my only knock on it. Like, put a little more grit on this. It's there in the vocals, but the instruments come across as a bit too polished for my liking. Yeah, I need a little more danger. First time, this is a typical McCartney album. I would still go with Run Devil Run over this as far as his cover albums as a better album. Just my opinion. We reviewed it. I think Lee enjoyed it more than he said about this, so it was a better album. Yeah, that was one out of the blue. This one was typical of that era, so if you like hearing Muzak-y kind of stuff, listen to that mid-'80s to late 80s Paul McCartney, and you'll know what this is all about. The rest of it sounds the same as this Lee, so, I don't know if you'd enjoy most of that stuff. It sounds a lot like this.
Well, my problem was not whether or not it sounded sanitized. It just sounded like they didn't.
And try hard.
They didn't do it well enough.
Right.
Someone who's a pizza whiz, like a old guy named like Mario, has like a 6-year-old daughter, and someone takes her away from coloring her coloring book and saying, "You're Helio's young daughter, you should learn how to make pizza. Go on, slap that dough on the counter," and she's crying, "Mommy, they're making me slap dough on pizza." And for some reason she happens to make a pizza that doesn't blow up, that the sauce stays on the top, and some of the ingredients, even if they might be like, why would you put this on a pizza, at least they're on there. And then when people eat it, they're like, who made this? And they say, well, Mario's daughter made it. And they go, well,
can't say anything bad.
Well, no, they can say something bad, but they say, well, at least there's room for improvement.
Right.
And I would not have said that about this until I heard the other album. Then I can say that. Kind of like that.
I would never say it about Paul McCartney. He's one of the best. But there was a period where unfortunately his balls fell off, and that was this period. And, I don't know. Run Devil Run was a better album by far, but his work became better at a certain point.
Yeah.
But in that mid-'80s, the late 80s, ooh, that's some brutal listening.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
John Lennon from Beyond was not happy. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I do challenge you to listen to the Ain't That a Shame by John Lennon and compare it. We don't have to do the rock and roll album, because rock and roll album just sounds like the Saturday Night Live theme band all the way through it. To me, way too many saxophones and horns and silliness. But
from what you gave me, I liked it.
Oh. I would always be interested in picking that one apart. There's some good songs on it, though, to be fair. I'm not saying there's not some good songs.
I should eventually hear it. But
the way he does Ain't That a Shame, I'm thinking is more Lee Gerstmann style on that record.
All right. But
I just find it's interesting they both did versions of it 10 years apart or whatever. And Paul stuck to the more formulaic Fats Domino style, and John Lennon did something different with it.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm
cool.
thinking the next time we do a review, since you seem geared for it, I'll pick that album, either that one or the other one that I know more, which is not quite as challenging, but still for you might be in at least one track. Or I can pick the one that even for me might be a little bit challenging. But
is this one of the Beatles? There is nothing too challenging for me.
No. This is a French progressive avant-garde weirdness band.
Yeah, now you're talking weirdness.
Yeah.
That survived Revolution Number 9. I mean, that's not that weird of a song. It sucks, but it's not that weird.
It's
How about Yoko Ono's greatest hits? That would be fucking fun time on the Lee Gerstmann show, wouldn't
it? You might actually like this one a little bit better than Yoko.
I think I'd like quite a few things over Yoko's music, if you call it that.
No, I'm talking about a group.
Oh yeah, French avant-garde, no problem.
Yeah,
got to be better than Yoko Ono.
Yeah. What? All right, I'll ask you.
She's got one song worth of shit.
Would you?
My opinion.
Would you? The one that I originally was thinking of giving you because I thought, oh, you won't be able to handle doing this one, or the other one that I like quite a bit, that I think is cool, but I also think might test your patience. Which one would you want to do?
The most test my patience one.
You mean the second one?
I'm assuming so.
Or the first one. All right.
Because we survived the Shags.
All right.
On an old show, you and I both did. We survived the Shags.
Okay.
It's not much worse than that.
All right. No. Actually, this.
That makes the Shags sound good?
No. It. Nothing can make the Shags sound like anything but the Shags. But this group, nothing can make anything sound like this group except more groups like it. But now we're going down another area where you might not necessarily like.
Yeah, good.
Like if I walked down a hill with you, and there were a whole bunch of people who were like fighting massively, punching each other and screaming and using kitchen utensils and furniture to beat each other up. And I said, hey, do you want to talk to some of these guys? Hey, let's have a conversation. You know, like, it might be kind of like that. You might not want to do that.
I don't care. As long as down the road, pretty soon, we do a James Taylor album that I get to pick, we're cool.
Oh.
But I get to pick it. So that'd be a very, very normal one to you.
That sounds like if I tell you I love mushrooms and you say, okay, but I get to pick which mushroom you eat. But okay.
Yeah, this is James Taylor. We haven't done enough of that. We ain't done none of that.
Okay, when would you want to do another couple of reviews?
Next Monday or Tuesday. Be on the lookout, folks, for one that's going to push my patience beyond any measure of human life.
No. Well, there's one that will make you feel more like you can't handle it, and
Maybe
the
you
other
want to quit
one,
reviewing. Yeah.
and then
You
the
pick
other
the
one,
that
which
you
is a
think's
little
worse.
more just regular patience.
You pick the one you think's worse, and I'll try that one for size. And then I guess
Oh
John Lennon
boy.
rock and roll.
Okay. Actually, yeah. Let's do that. The one that even I was hesitant to do.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
do.
Okay. Let's do that.
That might blow people's mind. And
have you ever heard of Helden?
John Lennon.
That's the group.
I don't know them, so
all right.
It's got to be something outstanding. So then John Lennon rock and roll and something James Taylor I picked.
All right. So Helden and James Taylor and John Lennon.
Rock and roll.
And then I'll pick something else.
Sure, I'll have plenty of time for something that, try to get something that most humans will enjoy listening to.
I will pick something that I like.
Well,
and then you say, no, we're talking most humans. No, I'll pick something else that will just be because I think it would be cool to pick it.
Pick a great polka. You gotta know some good polkas.
I hate polka, but there's one guy I don't hate.
One guy? Oh, Lord. Okay, don't pick polka. Irish folk music.
Oh,
some of that.
Would you be into doing a Chieftains album?
Yeah.
Hey. Great.
Why not? Don't know anything about it. Because come the holiday season, we owe Anani the Beach Boys Christmas review. But that's in 2 weeks, I think.
All right.
Roughly. We agreed to that a few episodes back.
Yeah, that could be done anytime.
And I'm going to add Chipmunks Christmas. We have to, you have to throw these up because Anani's going to be crying if these don't go up.
Okay. I'll be fair and say between a number between 1 and 10 for the Chieftains, because one of the albums is not necessarily titled under a number, but their first 10 albums are kind of numbered. Which number would you pick?
5.
Okay, cool. That would be cool. Chieftains 5.
Yeah.
Because before this one website got, like bulldozed by the people who take down websites, I uploaded as many Chieftain albums as I could, and I got at least 30 or 40, and so I'm into that stuff, and
cool.
And so I don't know if you've ever heard the Chieftains.
I can't say that I remember it, so I don't know. Maybe I did, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I think
probably not.
I'm one of the guys who thinks that a lot of the people who say, well, I have to tell you this. Van Morrison did an album with the Chieftains, and it's a good album. And I definitely will not say that people shouldn't listen to it. They should, because both of them, Van Morrison and the Chieftains, are doing superbly on it. But a lot of people don't do more than that. They are like, I love the Chieftains, but that's the only album that I heard. And then if you give them a Chieftains album to hear it for later, they'll smile and say thank you and not hear it. And those are the people who I wish I could go to their house, take the plastic off the CD, tell them to please sit down and let me put this on and play it for them. And so this will be a review for those people.
Right on.
All right. Anyway, Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.